everyone, welcome. Thank you for joining me in another video. God bless you. We have a very powerful topic for this one, but before we get started, subscribe to this channel. Also share this video, like this video, and also feel free to add a comment. I do read them. And as usual, I do appreciate everyone's support of my channel. I do understand that you do not have to be here. There are other things that you could be doing with your time besides watching one of my videos, but I do appreciate my audience very, very much. To my subscribers who continue to come back, and if this is your first time watching any of my content, once again, welcome. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Now let's talk about this very powerful law, universal law that I know can change your life. I know it's changed my life for the better. It's interesting because this universal law that I'm about to talk about, it's a very powerful one. It's one that is very impactful, but it's also one that is simple, and it's also one at times that's really tough to observe at times. So the universal law that I'm talking about is the law of substitution. The law of substitution. So if you want to make a big change in your life, if you want to change your life for the better and in a more permanent way, it's very, very important that you observe the law of substitution. So what is it? It's basically a law that requires us, when we observe it, to replace the things in our lives that are not working. Replacing the things and the habits that is leading us to be continuously stagnant, that is leading us to failure, that is leading us nowhere, that is causing our lives to not move in a direction that we don't want it to move in. So when we find ourselves in life stuck, when we find ourselves stagnant, when we find ourselves, in a cycle of failure, whatever it is, or we don't feel like we're progressing in the way that we should be progressing, consider observing the law of substitution. Because what it does, it requires us. So what it is in order to have a positive and a more permanent change in our lives, we have to replace things. And it begins on a very rudimentary level of replacing our mindset and our thoughts. So before we do anything, and before anything is manifest physically, or before we speak a thing, or before we take an action, it all begins as a thought. So on a very basic level, we have to begin to execute and observe the law of substitution if we want to make a change in our lives, by replacing the way we think about things, replacing those negative thoughts with positive thoughts, replacing that I can't do it with I can do it, replacing our doubt with faith. And what they'll begin to do, they'll begin to make a change in our lives, and our change in how we approach things, and a change in how we see things. So on a very basic level, what we have to begin to do is change our thought life. And we have to be very intentional about it. And I know sometimes that's a tough thing to do. But as we observe the law of substitution, we have to first begin to work on our mindset. And it's also a mental law as that. The law of substitution is a mental law at the very basic level. So it all begins in the mind and with our thoughts, a series of replacing things. And then the next step is a change in behavior. Nothing in your life is going to change unless you make some changes. So if you continue to do the things that you're doing in the way that you're doing it, and it's not working, it's going to continue to not work and throughout the rest of 2021, 2022, 2023, and beyond. And the next thing you know, you have not accomplished the things in life that you have thought that you should have accomplished. And you'll grow old, if you are fortunate enough to see old age, full of regrets. And that's something that we do not want, full of thinking that, okay, I haven't fulfilled my purpose. What we want to do is fulfill our purpose. So we have to begin to change our patterns of behavior. We can't do things the same way that we have done it before. So we observe the law of substitution. So we have to take out those habits and those patterns and identify what they are and begin to make positive changes. So I wanted to lose weight. So I had to change the way I, number one, mentally thought about food. Change my attitude toward food. Number two, changed the way my eating habits. Like, so there's certain things I knew I couldn't eat anymore. There's certain things that I couldn't eat as much of. There's certain things that, so there had to be a complete shift in my behavior in how I thought about food and how I ate food and how, the times of consumption. So everything had to change around my habits with eating. Same thing with, addiction. Same thing with if you want to better yourself and you want to acquire certain skills, that you have to, instead of sitting and scrolling through your phone, you'll pick up a book, take a class. What are you doing today that's going to help you get closer to your goals for tomorrow, and that's going to better your future for tomorrow? So you have to do a series of changing your behavior, not hanging out with certain people, right? Not participating in certain things, leaving things alone. That means drastic things. If you're dealing with addiction, if you're, that means that you have to change your company. That means that you have to get into a program, possibly. That means that you're going to have to get support from people. That means that you're going to have to stay away from the people and things that leads you toward the path in that addiction, whatever it is, or if it's, just bettering yourself or getting your business started or starting your book, whatever it is, you have to change your pattern of behavior and begin to adopt patterns of behavior that will bring you closer to your goals. So substitution, the law of substitution, is really the law of replacement. So as we begin to change the way we think, as we begin to change the way we behave and do things, then we're going to see changes in our lives. But if we do not observe the law of substitution, then nothing will change in our lives. So the next thing, as we begin to observe the law of substitution, the next thing that we have to consider and do is not only changing mentally in what we do in our behavior, is we have to make a commitment to that change, a commitment to those new patterns, a commitment to thinking more positively, commitment to wellness. And I talk a lot about wellness, on my channel, is because I know it's the thing that's going to help us change our lives, is to be well. So wellness will help us to make those changes, and it's going to help us to stay committed. So we have to be committed to those changes and doing sometimes drastic things to make sure that we stay on track, So for me, I go back to food because it's just an easy example for me. So for me, in order for me to make that permanent commitment to eating better and more healthy, that I don't overeat and, gain weight again, I knew I had to make a commitment. So my commitment is to meal prep. I can't stand it. I don't like it. It's a pain in the butt. So, but I know I have to make that commitment each week to meal prep and have a schedule and knowing what I'm going to eat each day, because that's something that'll help me stay on track and stay healthy and stay, with a good weight. So you have to make a commitment in the areas that you want to change. That means doing some positive reinforcements and some reinforcements that'll get you there. So whether it's losing weight or exercising, so what are you going to do to get yourself into the gym or to get yourself some people, they make the financial commitment. Okay, I'm going to pay for, this personal training package, or I'm going to commit to these classes, or I'm going to commit to hooking up with a friend and going walking with my family or with my spouse, a significant other, or with my dog every evening. So it's like you have to make a commitment and make a schedule. I'm all about that schedule and all about that planning because I know it works and it helps. So you have to make that commitment. Okay, I'm going to, do these things. I'm going to sign up for these classes. I'm going to walk with my family after dinner. I'm going to walk my dog, twice a day and, have that time just to make sure that I'm moving and I'm exercising. That will help me to be a healthier person. Or I'm going to sign up for those courses. I'm going to find free classes. If I don't have the money for the tuition, I'm going to do the networking. I'm going to get myself out there. I'm going to sit down and block off that time. I'm going to be committed to writing. I'm going to be committed to helping people, or whatever it is that you do that you want to better yourself at, whatever it is. Committed to learning more, to reading more, whatever it is that will empower you, that will help you move closer to your goals, that will help you live out your purpose, because we all have a purpose on this earth. You have to have a level of commitment and discipline to it. So not only is it requires, the law of substitution requires us to replace, it also requires us to be committed. And that's basically what this law is about. This is a powerful law if you observe it. It's a law that I've found that when I do observe it, that it has made permanent changes in my life. And, you know, I'm a recovering lazy person, you know, but this has helped me to be a highly productive person. And I've said that before in other videos. But as I've observed this law and, you know, change and, you know, replace certain things and change certain things, I got into healthy patterns, and I've gotten to positive patterns that are now permanent. And I am a better person for it. So that's what I wanted to share with you in this video. That is the universal law that will change your life for the better. Please observe it. Please think about it. And as you know, if this has been helpful to you, share this video with another person. So that's all I have for you for this one. Thank you for joining me in this video. Take care. God bless. And I will see you in the next video.